year. What is the maximum constitutional county tax rate, and do you know what the proposed tax rate is for this budget year 2010-2011? Is the current tax rate more or less than the previous budget year?
I have not seen the tax rate, so I really can't answer that question. And the budget, so I really can't answer that question.
Thank you, Mr. Beaver. Mr. Yonashek.
I believe from what I understand that the tax rate was not increased this last year, although appraisal values did go up on buildings. As far as what the tax rate will need to be, will have to be brought out as to what the budget will look like later on in the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yonashek. Our hour and a half is up for our presentation. In just a moment, we will have closing remarks from each person. Not all the questions that were proposed to the county were addressed tonight. I'm sure at some point in time either they'll be given to the candidate and then hopefully they will address it at future times to different people. We realize that all the questions that were asked and posed are important to this community. The participants of tonight's debate have drawn numbers to who will present their closing arguments first, and that will start with Mr. Gower.
I've attended a few Commissioners Court meetings in the last year, and I've not been particularly impressed with participation, input, or lack of by the Commissioners. There wasn't enough discussion of the issues in Commissioners Court for a regular citizen to understand what they thought about it. I think they should express their opinion in the court. This is also a concern of many of the citizens. And if I serve on this court, I will express my opinion in court for the citizens to understand what I thought. That's not something I predetermined. Another big concern of the citizens is the condition of the roads. And some of them have been told, well, there's no money to buy gravel. And it's at times like this, with this wet winter, that we need a healthy reserve fund. I've looked at the budget, and I'm not an accountant, but it appears to me that the reserve funds are far less than the recommended amount when we need a large reserve fund. With unfunded needs for the coming annex, necessary courthouse repairs, jail needs, and badly needed road repairs, Karnes County has major financial obligations in the near future. All these items must be considered in the most economical way possible. At this time, I do not know the exact duties or the limitations of a county commissioner, but I will find out what they are. I will get a book and find out what the book says what we're supposed to do. We've had some discussion about with the road administrator. Mr. Smith was here. He says, you can't tell me what to do. I don't work for you, etc. I don't think that's exactly right. I think the road administrator and the commissioners work together. At the present time, I have a very active family life, church life, work life, and social life. If elected to serve as county commissioner, I will make time to serve the needs of this job with the same integrity in which I have served the customers that I've had in the last 30 years and all of my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yar. Mr. Beaver.
Again, I'd like to thank all of you for taking the time to come out. I think it's been a good exchange, and I've been open with you tonight, and I've answered questions in a way that I believe will be in the best interest of the county. And I promise that that will be the way I'll conduct myself if I'm fortunate enough to earn your vote as County Commissioner of Precinct 2. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Beaver. Mr. Bean.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming out here tonight in such a crummy weather. You've sat and listened to us all night, and by now you've realized that we're not the professional politicians that you see on TV. But we're all here trying to make things better in our own way. I think I have a little different view on things than some of my opponents here tonight, because even though I've only been a commissioner for a couple of months, I've learned a lot. I learn something every time I walk into the courthouse. I believe to be a good commissioner, you have to be dedicated to what you're doing. You must spend time talking to department heads and listen to what they tell you. No one person can know the entire workings of the county. You must spend time doing research so that when the time comes to make that hard decision, you know what to do. But if there's only one thing that you leave here with tonight, please let it be this. When the commissioner's court race is over, when the judge's race is over, remember, we all still live in Karnes County. We are all still neighbors. Everyone has their candidate, and everyone has their own view. That's what makes America great. This election has seemed to split this county apart. We have lawsuits. We pay San Antonio attorneys too much money for silly things. We are looking very bad in the eyes of the outside business world. This all has to stop.